You are now listening to the Building Her Dream podcast, where we have inspiring conversations with introverted women entrepreneurs who are building their dream lives and businesses on their own terms. Hosted by business operations strategist, author, and the founder of Building Her Dream, Shayla Burton. To learn more about this podcast and our magazine, visit www.buildingherdream.com. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm your host, Shayla Burton, and this is the Building Her Dream podcast. We have a very special edition of the show today. We'll be talking all about the Global Icon Lifetime Achievement Awards that took place in New York on July 11th. And today's guests include the founder of International Icon Inc., Antoinette Logan, and also the award winners, Sandy Goldstone, Dr. Ewa Kleczyk, and Dr. Carlotta Eversley-Gabriele. Ladies, how are you all doing today?
We're doing
great. Thank you for having me. How about you?
Good. I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for asking. Now, before we dive into talking about the event, let's have a little fun and talk about your dreams. So if you could wake up tomorrow and have your perfect dream life, what would that look like for you? So for me, I want to travel the world and have annual vacations with my family. That would be my dream. Sandy, what's your dream?
Well, I feel like I've been living it. I'm living it right now.
Good for you.
Because I've been taken on such an adventure this year, speaking in Paris, in Madrid, and then in New York. So my dream from now is I'd really love to live in Europe. I've fallen in love with France, and so and just like being open to see where Grace is leading, but I also know how I want to feel living my dream life. So that for me is really important, is how do I want to feel? And I want to feel relaxed and peaceful and joyous and abundant and grateful. So yeah.
Yes, that sounds good. I want that dream life myself.
Yes.
Yes. Dr. Eva, why don't you tell us about what your dream life looks like?
Yes, thank you. What an interesting question. My dream life would be being in Maine, spending a lot of time on the boat at our lake house, but have the opportunity and have a private plane to go to Poland, to the city where I was born, every time that I want to. So that would be wonderful to have some Polish food and meet some of my friends without any constraints put on there. The other thing that I would want to have is the ability to teach as many individuals as I can while I'm an executive within for a corporation. My dream has been always to be a professor, and I'm hoping that at some point it's going to happen anyway. But it's very important for me to give the education gift to those who might not be able to have it. Thank you.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And Dr. Carlotta, how about you?
Oh my God, I also feel as though I am living part of my dream. My dream is purpose-filled. And for me, it's touching lives, empowering people, and bringing out the best in individuals, especially after the COVID and losing so many lives, and the world has changed. For me, my purpose is really to bring that back, whatever that looks like. And, finding purpose in every day and bringing life to people. And also my family and my children are all doing great, so I am blessed in that capacity. But just being able to extend my blessing beyond me and my family, that is my purpose, and that is something that I would love to do.
Awesome. Very cool. And Antoinette, how about you?
Well, I love working with people and doing things that honor and recognize other people, whether I'm helping them achieve their goal or recognizing them for goals they already achieved. So I really do want to mend my personal dream of continuously traveling. I'm living it, but not all the way. I want to travel in way many more places. And I want to do that while honoring other people through the GILA and the Iconic 100 Awards programs in all these different locations that I go, and just making sure that we recognize the leaders that are right next to us in our own backyards.
Wow. Wow. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. Now let's talk about GILA. So the Global Icon Lifetime Achievement Awards. For those of us who have never heard of it, what is it all about?
It's all about recognizing leaders and impact makers, change makers all around the world. We are a certified organization to honor people with the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And that particular award is specifically for people living in the United States. The Global Icon Lifetime Achievement Award is equivalent to that. It's just that it's for people who are outside of the United States so that they don't have to be left out, because they too are doing the work, making an impact worldwide. It doesn't matter whether it's a service-based business, a business where you physically are doing something, or if you're just, coaching and uplifting, whatever it is, if you're impacting your community in a positive way. The GILA Awards and the Iconic 100 Awards is about that. GILA specifically is when we partner with another organization to bring our certification for the award to their community. So everyone here tonight with us are a part of a community with our partner that we partnered with. You'll find out more about that later on in the show.
Okay. Okay.
Did that get a chuckle out of us ladies?
For sure.
And the beat goes on.
Okay.
Wow. So what inspired International Icon Inc. to really create such an event?
Well, when I was working on, excuse me, when I was working on the Iconic Speakers Network, which is a all-in-one speaker success toolkit to globally expand your brand in as little as 90 days, I became nominated for the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award myself. It was from an organization that, like me, is certified. I wasn't really a part of their community, so I really didn't know much about them or the significance of the award. However, to be recognized and honored at any capacity, I'm appreciative. So like most people, I shared a screenshot of the details of being nominated. And I instantly started getting inboxes and DMs from people who wanted to book me for speaking gigs, keynote opportunities, things like that. There's one company reached out and said, what does it take to get you on our stage? Because that is so prestigious and all these great things she was saying. So it kind of had me scratching my head a little bit. I'm like, wait a minute now, hold on. So this award is going to bring me more money? Okay, this is different than, some of the other opportunities that I've had. So I basically contacted people that I had worked with, because in the branding and PR world, I've worked with multiple politicians that are in the House, councilmen, state representatives, things like that. And I reached out to find out more about it. And doing that, they were able to get me connected where I could be a certified organization, because I wanted to give that same feeling to other people who were also doing the work. I said, if I'm able to be nominated and recognized, I know for a fact that I know at least 1,000 people who've done way more than me who deserve this and have not yet received it. So I made it my business to go ahead, get certified, get everything in order. And before we had International Icon Inc., we actually created a program within the Iconic Speakers Network for people who wanted to actually receive the award. So let's just say if you were doing volunteer work or getting those hours that you have to receive it elsewhere, not with us. We just created a platform inside of the program where we could calculate your hours. So if you did some work with company ABC, you just come in, calculate those hours, and when you get to the 4,000 mark, you would then be able to receive the award at the upcoming award ceremony. But in doing that, the Iconic Speakers Network is a higher ticket product. So even though we had a lot of people in our free version of the program, it wasn't a lot of people on the paid side to actually be able to be included. So that made me say, you know what? Let's figure out a way where we can help these people without them having to pay the high ticket to get in the program, but still be able to benefit. So that's where me and my team got together and we put together the nonprofit side of things, which is the International Icon Inc. And we specifically only do event organization for business events, information, educational, advocacy, and awareness programs. And then we have the two, that is the GILA Awards and then the Iconic 100. The only difference of the two is that Iconic 100 is when we, International Icon Inc., do an award ceremony, versus GILA is when we partner with another company to honor their own people.
Okay, gotcha.
That was a lot.
Yes.
It was.
Very well said, though. Very well said.
Yes.
I know it'd be a lot, but I want to make sure that people understand the difference so they don't get confused.
Right. Okay. So it sounds like the GILA Awards brought together some really exceptional individuals. Now, how does the event impact the community and inspire others?
Well, to be honest with you, the recognizing impact makers and change makers in itself is inspiring, because when you see that person get on that stage, or if you hear someone giving you that resume and that bio of what that person does, to meet them for 5 minutes, you may not know that they're that big bundle of impact and they've done all these things. So to really sit and really watch and listen and learn what these people have done, in this case, these three ladies, what they've done and what they're doing, that alone more than likely is going to make you want to put some action behind your own feet, because you're going to be like, they did all that? Wait a minute, what am I over here doing? I ain't done nothing. Not saying they haven't done nothing, but when you really sit back and look at all the things that one person has accomplished in such a short amount of time, whether you're 30, 50, 60, or 70, to me, that's still a short amount of time, So to see all of those accomplishments that have been made, that alone makes you take a step back to I can do more. I can do a little bit more that's going to be beneficial to somebody other than myself. Helping other people actually helps you in a great way.
Mm-hmm.
Very much so.
And to answer the other part of the question, impacting the community, I don't know if any of you, as far as Dr. Eva and Sandy, have been requested, but Dr. Carlotta, for sure, she's received speaking engagements already just since receiving her award. So we know that there's an impact there that's happening, because when you're recognized for something, specifically Lifetime Achievement Awards, that's a little different than just saying, hey, I took a class and got a certificate, or you know what I mean? It's a little bit different, and it makes people pay attention to you in a different type of way.
Okay, wonderful. And this question could be for anybody who attended. So what were was there any type of standout moment from the award that you truly believed captured the essence of the event?
I do have an answer, but I want to give you ladies an opportunity to say something first, if you'd like.
Absolutely. For me, it was really listening, hearing the stories of the other honorees and just celebrating together what we have accomplished. And I think hearing those stories and thinking about the empowerment and the inspiration that each of us bring in, it's really remarkable. And we all are covering very different areas, and you realize how vast the globe is, and there are so many opportunities to step in and really help others, or really do what you're passionate about and help and inspire others to also step in and do that. And I think that realization was so important to me and really remarkable to hear the journey that the other honorees had.
Yes.
And for me, when you speak about iconic covers multitude of things, in my opinion. And, it's the ability to be able to stand out in spite of what is going on. And one of the things that stood out to me, that even though everyone who showed up there, we showed up with an intent for certain things to happen. We didn't get what we were bargained for. However, Antoinette really tried to make that experience momentous for us. And I would say, because of everything she had going on, and in spite of all of that, she still showed up and showed out so that we can have the best experience possible. To me, that was a standout moment for me where Antoinette is concerned, because it goes to show that it doesn't matter what is going on in our lives. We just have to show up and show out. And that is what Antoinette did, because, there was lots of promises that wasn't kept. And to be in a stage like that, for all of us, the other honorees, we are hardworking women who have defied the glass ceilings. We are trailblazers, we are trendsetters. And we showed up there, to be honored, and we didn't get what we were supposed to. However, I really appreciate the fact that Antoinette rose to the occasion. So for me, in everything else, that moment stood out to me.
Wow. Thank you.
I would agree with that. I feel that, yes, it was a mystery unfolding in each and every moment. It's like, what's happening now? Hide and seek. It's like, but it really showed what we were truly made of, and that we could hold that faith and trust in that place of the unknown, and like just keep taking the next step, and just like Carlotta said, showing up and doing it from a place of grace. And sometimes it wasn't so easy. It was like, and I was calling Antoinette and going, I don't understand. Like, because I just started to like question my sense of reality. Like, and it was just like, oh, I see a door. I'm going into Alice in Wonderland. It was just like, seriously. But I get, I just kind of see that as like a microcosm of life. It's like we're always stepping into these unknown places and doors to grow beyond knowing who we are in the moment. And so are we in our hearts and our souls and our spirit to be able to do that from a place of grace and ease, and to just be in the joy of being of service in that way, however we're being asked to show up, and to just trust that this is working for our highest and greatest good, even though it doesn't appear that way. It's like, no, this is a gift here. Let me see the silver lining. And so I feel that we got to see all of that through what we shared, what we experienced, and Antoinette was just exemplary. Like,
And we also grew, right? We grew through this whole experience, because we not only that we trusted, but we tried to make it something out of that as well, and just really get to know each other. That's why for me, hearing the stories was so remarkable, because we all could have left and we all could have not shown up, but we gave that moment to do that, and learning and having that relationship. After the ceremony, Carlotta and I met up at the bar, and we were having a great conversation. And I think that was showing, right?
Yes.
We met for a few minutes and created a bond that's lasting now much longer.
Yes, and if I may add to that also, one of the models I live by, it's by Maya Angelou, and she talks about, people may forget what you say, people may forget what you do, but they never forget how you make them feel. And for me, that moment, as as fragile as it was, with everything that we didn't get, Antoinette was able to make it happen for us. And for me, that in itself, that experience, I will always keep that very close to my heart. So that is one of the pivotal points for me and moments.
I just want to say thank you, ladies, because we haven't got, look, it looks like we going ahead a little bit, but I just want to add to give you some insight on what they're talking about.
Yes.
Because the GILA Awards is partnered with an organization, there was a 3-day conference already happening with the partner that we did this with. We have been planning this event all the way from May up until, well, on June 25th, we had to replan the entire event. New venue, new everything. And it was because the partner made changes. The partner, when you do this type of thing on our end, we partner with you in this because you already have something going on, hence the conference they were having. So you don't need to look for a venue. You don't need to look for your people you're going to honor because they're already connected to something you're doing. Well, on June 25th, the partner says, hey, we thought that this event was only going to be this amount of money, not this amount of money. It's like, well, wait a minute. This location that you're at, it's not, they don't have anything in that hotel for that amount of money. So it was a big situation. A lot of the things that they're talking about they didn't get were things that they were supposed to get in their whole package for the conference. So I'm saying some people showed up to the conference and they were greeted with a horrific, dirty hotel room. Some people didn't even have a hotel room when they got there. These people were not fed not one time at the conference while they were there. And they paid money to have a hotel, to have transportation from the airport to the hotel and back, when from the hotel to the airport when they leave. Each meal was supposed to be provided. I mean, there were so many things that the partner did not provide that they were supposed to provide. However, because we were already in the mix, these women were already waiting, already expecting their award. So on behalf of my company, we're not gonna just say, oh, forget it because you made changes. That's not what we're doing. My story, my personal story, I've had my back against the wall many times in life, going through life, not connected to business. So now when we talk about business, I'm gonna act like how I would in life. We're gonna make it happen no matter what. Our motto is to make sure that every client that we work with feels like a partner, give them the luxury treatment, the gold standard of excellence. So there was Black car service. We're going to make sure you're fed. We're going to make sure, and we're going to make sure it was real good too. Okay. We're going to pop the bottles for you and all the things, that we could with the situation changing so drastically. So that's just a hindsight of the things that they're mentioning. And you can point the finger at who's to blame. And I didn't even have to point the finger because without them even knowing me, they were able to know who was doing what. Because when you partner with a company, just like if we partnered with you for something, BHD I'm talking about. If we partner with you for something and your people are used to communicating with you, we're going to keep that communication going with you. You would tell your people what they need to know from us because they're comfortable with you. They paid you for this conference and things like that. So they were already aware that there were things that weren't the way it should have been, but I still wasn't gonna drop the ball on my end and just point the finger at someone else. I really wanted to do what I could to make the best of the situation. And let's not even forget or mention that you don't know this, but I never made it to New York City. My flight was canceled 5 times, okay? So after that, I'm like, I can't get there in time. The next flight out was for Thursday. The event was on Tuesday. It's no point in me to go at that point, right? So we had to make it happen. This is unheard of, but my sponsor of my event, my main sponsor ran my event. But that just goes to say my organization skills were on point because there's no way possible that somebody can jump in and run your event if it's not organized enough for them to do so. This person had, not this person, her name is Frances Gomillion. She's not on with us today, but she didn't know anything about this. She don't even run events. How about that? She's not an event producer, but she ran it like a pro. if it wasn't for her, I honestly don't know how things would have went, because with me not being present, I can't physically see. I mean, how we're doing this Zoom, I
Mhm.
ran the ceremony through Zoom, but I couldn't see what was happening. So here I am going through the actual awards deck, the slide deck, and running the show, but I can't see if I should be saying this part yet, because I don't know if they made it to the stage. I can't, it was hectic, but at the end of the day, we made it happen. And because these three ladies were willing to be understanding and open to knowing, like, this is the situation, this is where we at, but we're going to keep going. And I kept everyone in the loop too. When there were problems as they were happening, I'm letting people know, don't get me wrong. I was quite embarrassed because even though it wasn't my fault, my business is still involved.
Yes.
So if you don't really know every single step, some parts you might not know whose fault it is unless you really know the behind the scenes part. So it was a lot that happened, but needless to say, it still turned out to be a great event. These ladies are constantly making moves and steady thriving within their industries. And it's clear because here they are today, showing up as they have been since I've been in communication with them and before.
Thank you.
Wow. Yeah. So it sounds like there were definitely some challenges when it came to putting this event together, but I'm glad that everything worked out well in the end. Let's talk to Sandy a little bit. First of all, I want to congratulate you on receiving the Global Icon Lifetime Achievement Award. How does it feel to be recognized for your contributions and achievements in your field?
It feels surreal.
Mm.
It does. It's like I know that it's real because it's sitting over there, and like I've got a certificate. Like, it's like but it's like you do what you love and you be in service to people, and you want to inspire and uplift and have them, feel good about themselves and know the truth about themselves and see their inner beauty, and to empower them. And I don't do it as a means to get something. It's just innately within me. I've been doing this since I was like young. So, but to receive it is like, oh, it reminds me that life sees everything that I do, that I'm in service to and with, and other people are watching and observing and taking note and want to acknowledge and celebrate that with me. So that was a really nice kind of confirmation. But really, it was like, really? Wow, because I'm the kind of person that goes, like, I need to do more. I need to do more. And now it's like, no, I can just relax and just allow myself to be, and just to enjoy just being who I am in my own unique way, because that's all I need to do. And just to be in that place of love and heart and generosity and gratitude, and just being in that space of receptivity. So it's like, and I really haven't shared it with many people. So I'm hearing that. I haven't put it on LinkedIn or my social media or anything. I've put one picture up, but not the award or not the certificate and everything, because I've had things come up since coming home that have really shaken my world up. So I'm dealing with that. But yeah, I will share it and see what happens. But I do have another conference that I am going to be chairing and organizing for Paris next year, which is, what does it mean to be a spiritual leader in today's world?
I love that.
Very nice. Can you share with us a little bit about your journey and just the key milestones that led you to being honored with this award?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Well, key milestones.
Or just tell us basically what work have you been doing to get this type of award?
Oh, I've done all sorts. I started out in the ministry as a church pastor, and then I I got excommunicated for speaking out and just for being this. And because I experienced abuse through church leaders and all that kind of stuff. And when I started to speak out about it, that kind of, closed the doors. So then I went and I worked with young people who were in third generation unemployment, domestic violence, sexual assault, all forms of interpersonal violence, drug and alcohol. That kind of was my training ground, like mental health, homelessness. So I just found myself moving through different sectors and working in different parts of Australia, and working in breakthrough programs with governments, and so liaising with police and all that kind of stuff, so they could see a different side to people that were constantly going through their station or going through the court system. So we'd take them out and take them and do abseiling and all these kind of interactive activities, so they could start building different kinds of partnerships, and so they could really break the cycle of the repeat offending, because each side or organization or people could see themselves differently and see themselves as human beings and having the same difficulties and struggles and everything. So, and then I went to rape crisis. So I've always worked on the really kind of the dark side of life. It's not been easy work, but it's been very rewarding in being able to, through my own experience of abuse and neglect and homelessness and all that kind of stuff, I've been able to be that symbol of hope and to be that beacon of empowerment and liberation, that because these things happen to us, they don't define us, and we get to choose who and what we are and how we're going to show up and how we're going to define ourselves, and to call back our power, our own energy, our own light that we have had taken from us without permission. And so it's like standing up and going, no, I am here. I am unique. I am valuable. I am worthy. I am enough. And so what choices can I make that allow me to have those experiences work for me, to be a blessing and a gift, and to strengthen me and empower me to be more of who I'm here to be.
I love that. What advice would you give to other individuals who want to make an impact in their communities?
Be yourself, to be authentic, to be real. It's like, it's like we're always being told that we have to try and be unique. And it's like, no, you already are unique. Just allow yourself to do what you love, what naturally comes to you. And it's like, there's not the striving and the efforting. It's like, remember as a child, it's like, even those of us who were brought up in abuse and all that kind of stuff, I remember what brought me a sense of joy and a sense of, freedom and connection to my heart. And so it's like, just playing. What does that mean? Art, or just smiling. It's like, it's people think that it's the great things, and it's like the little things. When you're in the shop, look at someone, say their name, smile at them, recognize them, because as you recognize people, you're also connecting with yourself, and you're recognizing your own heart, your own soul, your own spirit, your own value, your own worth, your own presence, your own existence. Because so many people don't feel like they're enough, that you know, their existence isn't enough. They have to keep proving their worth and their value. And it's like, no, you are loved wholly and completely just for being you here right now.
Thank you for sharing that. That is really great advice. Now, Dr. Ava, you received the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. Congratulations to you. Yeah. So how does it feel getting that award, and what does it mean to you?
Yes, thank you for the question. Before I answer, just want to say, Sandy, what you just said, it's extremely powerful. And I think individuals watching this podcast, I think, are gonna learn it. And it's hard to follow you after that. So but I just wanted to recognize that this is quite a message. And I think it's a very important message for groups that are struggling right now. And we are in the times when many individuals are not able to find themselves. And I think hearing you just say it, they're gonna realize they can find themselves. So thank you for doing that, because that was very, very beautiful and was coming from your heart. And I think many of us have connected, and many people will connect. So thank you. But going back, Sheila, to your question, it is an honor to have been recognized. As you can probably hear, I have an accent. Actually, the three of us are non-American born. We are all from different countries. I represent the Eastern European country of Poland. And dreaming being a young girl, well, I always knew that I loved mathematics, and I loved to study, and I wanted to do something with my life. I never imagined that I'm going to end up in the United States and be able to get a PhD in this wonderful country, and then have the opportunity to stay here, and now being recognized with this award. At first, I think I do have to say that sometimes it's still quite a unreal and surreal experience, because we are yet to have it in our hands, but we are all. It is something that I have never thought. I even didn't knew probably a couple of months ago that even existed. And I think being able to be nominated and qualify for it, it really presents it, all of the hardship and the drive and being away from our families, that or from my family, that really brings in. The area that for me is very important is it also presents to all of the young women that if you're passionate, if you're authentic self, as Sandy was saying, you can do what you love, and you can still make an impact that others will recognize, and not that you deserve to be, not that anyone is deserving to be recognized for what they do, but it does bring in that light and the spotlight, and you become someone who's inspiring. I did post, and my husband, I did post on LinkedIn and on Facebook. I'm not as good as Dr. Carlotta here. She's wonderful at it, but my husband did a lot of advertising for me. My brother-in-law did, and my organization recognized me as well with this. And I think the feedback and the best wishes, and so many people saying it is so well deserved and so well. You are one of those individuals who should have received it. It meant more than I could have even imagined, because we always work, we always drive for what we love, but we never know what the impact is, or whether we are actually deserving even of that, until you hear people just come and say, wow, this is probably the best thing. I'm so happy for you and for everything that you have done. And more importantly, once I posted that and I shared it with the university when I'm an adjunct faculty, I had a couple students reach out to me and say that I change their lives. And I mentioned that my dream is to be a teacher full time. Right now it is more of a part-time, but I do a lot to contribute there. But hearing that I made someone's life different, it is more than you can imagine. Someone would go, they didn't have parents, they didn't have anyone to look at, and me giving a speech at the university, or them seeing my one of the presentations at a conference changed their life. That's more than we can imagine. And I think awards are awards, but this was even more impactful to me than anything else that I could imagine. So.
Wow, wow. And you kind of touched on this, but how has your the work that you do made a positive impact on like your community and your industry?
Yes, thank you. So I am in the healthcare research industry. I am I'm an executive in a STEM area in the analytics and technology area, and that's where I have been really fulfilling myself and trying to encourage young women and mentor young women coming into the industry to make the impact, to really go forward, to really learn how analytics and technology can help with patient care, patient access, providing new medications to the market, and ultimately removing any and all of the biases and the barriers that we are seeing when it comes to healthcare and access of it. So so for me, that is really important because we don't have many women in that area as a result of being more in a STEM. But more importantly, there is very few women leaders. I'm always on a stage being one of the female leaders, or the only one female leader. I was at a conference last year where there were 30 speakers. Only 3 of them were women. Think about that. Only 3 of them were women, and only 2 of us were single, were individual speakers, female individual speakers. The other one was accompanying another male presenting. And that really struck me. That really struck me for the need and the voice that we need to be in order to be able to inspire young women and talk about it. With COVID happening, and I think Dr. Carlotta here spoke, she's a nurse, so she has done a wonderful job and she had a lot on her shoulders to carry. But for women coming out of COVID, many of them are very much burned out. They're very much stressed out. They are choosing not to pursue any more careers. And when they are actually getting into the table, the seat, the leadership seat, they realize that the table doesn't fit them, that the chair is too big, that the chair is too high for them to jump in, and they are starting to drop off. The Lean organization and McKinsey said that more women feel burned out than men, 41% versus 31%. This is a huge issue, and more women are dropping from leadership positions. And it's not only in the healthcare industry, although this was a primary focus, but it's in everywhere. And I think as an executive, that pains me because all of the women ahead of us have done such a wonderful job, and I was inspired. I'm still being a Polish female, Polish woman. Marie Skłodowska-Curie is my idol. We talk that men usually are the scientists. The picture of a scientist, for me, she was the picture of scientist, and she's my idol. And I really look at her as the person who have gone so far and brought us all in to where we are right now, or one of the leaders that did it. But seeing that young women don't want to enter leadership positions, or they get there and they say, this is not for them, that means that we have a lot of work to do. So while I'm being recognized for my leadership in healthcare analytics and for women leadership, I also feel that I have plenty to do in order to encourage more young women and different underrepresented groups, which are also not at the table very often, to help them be there and stay there and shape the table to what they need to be. Exchange that chair, bring your own chair and sit, and make sure that you are at the table in the most comfortable position you are in, because we need the diversity of thought. And we never thought about it, we never think about it, and we don't talk a lot at it, but all of the advances happen because of the diversity, and the diversity of women coming in, minorities coming in, and anyone and everyone in between coming in to help us drive where we are right now.
Wow. So it sounds like you are doing some amazing work in the healthcare industry. And you mentioned that Dr. Carlotta is also in the healthcare industry. And so you also received the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. So congratulations to you as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So what does getting this award mean to you?
The first word I would describe in how I felt that moment I got this award, it was humbling. It was humbling because what it didn't just move me in a way at that moment. It really encapsulated my life. And Dr. Eva mentioned about being a foreign American, of course, and growing up in the Caribbean and having to fight against abuse and, speaking up because we were told that we cannot speak up. You must be seen and not heard. So I have always been that precocious child to say, I am going to speak, even if I get in trouble after, I will speak. So I've always knew that I wanted to stand for something, so that meant a lot to me. And I said, whenever I get an opportunity to be able to be impactful, I will make sure that that counts. And, of course, moving to the US and, dealing with different challenges. One of the experience that my husband and I had early on in our marriage, being pregnant with my second child, I had a fetal demise, and she was about 36 weeks, 2 weeks before I delivered her. And that was devastating, to say the least. But what I find is that while I was in the hospital after the delivery and my daughter was in the room, my husband was there broken, and I am broken, the nurses and the leaders were horrible. And I remember thinking to myself, the pain that is worse than what I'm feeling was how they were. And I remember talking to God and just bargaining with him, just get me through this moment. And I will go back to nursing school. And when I become a nurse, I will ensure that I put myself in a position where I can create change, where nursing can be the way it's supposed to be, not the things that happen, of course, with my experience. And that's exactly what I did. I became a nurse, and within a couple of years, I, went back, I got my master's degree in nursing because I knew the more education I got, it was the better I was able to plant myself. So I went back and I got my master's. But during that time, I worked at bedside, I worked in leadership, I worked in the university, I worked in the prison system, I worked in the healthcare, health reform, policy. I just was part of everything because my goal was to make a difference. My goal was to create change. My goal was to get back to where we were supposed to be. When Florence Nightingale talked about nursing, what nursing should look like, it encompasses caring, compassion, empathy, and all of that is lost. And my goal as a coach and a consultant now is to be able to bring that back and let people understand that, especially when we're caring for others, we have to make sure that and remember that they are humans. We're dealing with humans. And even though, it has become a profit base, and I'm going to say that because I feel that's what it is, people before profit any day. So I am working, I continue to channel and champion for and against the things that are going on, but for the voiceless, for the people who cannot speak for themselves. Another big initiative of mine is working for and speaking up against the Black and brown women that are dying in child's birth. Why are we dying at such young proportional age in child's birth? And I was part of the team at Grady Hospital, and we worked on putting together some strategies so that we can decrease the postpartum hemorrhage that is killing the moms and killing the young moms. And it's not just in the USA or in Georgia, it is worldwide. It's a pandemic. It is actually was one of the highest leading cause of Black women dying prior to COVID. And I spoke in Canada, it's the same thing. I went to Nigeria, it's the same thing. I'm in the Caribbean, it's the same thing. So it is a pandemic. Why are we dying in such epic proportion? And it all goes back to the policies and the health policies and the health reform, that those are some of the things and some of the initiatives that I am working towards. I do believe that championing for what is right is what makes us. Standing up and speaking up against the things that are wrong is what makes us. And when we don't stand up, then we are being part of the problem. So as I continue human-centered leadership, and that is one of the things I've been speaking a lot about, it's really and truly owning into how can I help? How can I navigate? How can I optimize? How can I bring to fruition the things that we are supposed to be doing, not just in the nursing world, but in all aspect of humanity. Being a thought leader is someone who not just fight for the cause that works within their realm, but fight for women. I'm about, I fight for women against human trafficking. That is something that I'm champion against. I'm fighting for Black and brown women. Why are we dying at such proportional ages for in childbirth or post childbirth? And also having that voice. I came from a place where I couldn't have a voice. So for me to be able to speak at organizations, place myself at tables unapologetically, speak to the things that a lot of people don't want to speak to, and being able to just stand in my own space to make a change, to effect change. That is what I'm about. I consider myself a change agent. So everything that I look at and I deal with is to improve processes, improve patient outcomes, and basically really and truly to make our world a better place, especially for women.
Yeah. So it sounds like you are already making a lot of changes in your career, and receiving such a prestigious award like this can be just really a defining moment in your career. How do you think this recognition will influence your future endeavors and the legacy that you want to leave behind?
It is just to be honored in such a way. Like I said, it was humbling and, grateful. It is surreal. But the fact that I was able to be honored in this way, I knew to myself that I can be on stages, be at places, and not only speak, but when I speak, I will be heard, because this recognition of this award just really and truly amplifies my vision and helped me to continue to champion for the things that I am passionate about. I am the first in my family, from my mother and my grandmother and my great-grandmother, who has ever had an opportunity like this, moreover, to be in this space. So I will be creating, and just not creating a path, but leaving a trail to be able for other women and other young girls to not be defined by your circumstances, but you can rise above anything. You just have to be persistent, resilient, and you continue to work hard, push past the things that may be barriers, and know to yourself that you are the only one that can stop you from getting to where you need to be. So this award is just going to place me and continue to put me in places and in rooms that I can be impactful and create change.
Wow. Wow, that is beautiful. Well, we are coming up on our time. So I just have my last question is for Antoinette. So looking towards the future, how do you envision the GILA Awards evolving and just continuing to make an impact on achievements?
It's really just about connecting with more companies who have a community of people who deserve the recognition. And they don't have to be a big company. You could be a company with a group of 10 people, 20 people, 100 people. It doesn't matter, because we make change and impact one person at a time. Just that simple. It's like they said, it's really surreal, because even though I already knew exactly what was supposed to happen, how this was supposed to go, however, the feeling that I received from these ladies and Francis, it's all just a push to continue to do it more and 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 more. Connect with more people, honor more people, showcase that you can be anything you want to be. You can do anything you want to do. You're not sure of it? Well, let me put some people in front of you that are an example of that. Let me show you what that looked like. Let me put somebody in front of you that can tell you a story that's going to sound like a movie. Let me put somebody in front of you that's going to show you what it looks like to have your back against the wall, but still be able to make a difference, and not just in the world for yourself, but in the world for other people. You know, we can do a lot of things for ourselves, but what we're doing for others is bigger than what we could do for ourselves, you know? So I just want to continue to connect with other companies that want to recognize their community. I don't know the whole world. I know a few people, but that's how we make it happen. We connect with each other. I've already been in communication with Carlotta and Dr. Ewa about connecting with people specifically in the healthcare field, doing a GILA Award specifically for them. You know, it's not about the industry you're in. It's not about the job you have. It's really about the impact you're making. And that's it across the board. So
Okay. So if any organization is listening and they want to partner with you, how should they reach out?
you can connect with us at internationaliconinc@gmail.com. Or you can always go to the website, which is youaretheicon.org. You connect on social media at youaretheicon.org, Facebook and Instagram. It's not a hard process, because you know we are very real and authentic people over here. So it's really about just making that connection. We're gonna jump on a phone call to have a conversation about what that looks like, what your event that you already have looks like. Are you even having an event, or do we need to start from scratch? Where are you at? You know, just connect with us and we'll get that process rolling, you know.
All right. Well, that sounds really good. And that is our time for today. So I would like to thank Antoinette Logan, Sandy Goldstone, Dr. Ava Kleczyk, and Dr. Carlotta Eversley-Gabriele for joining me today. And thank you to our audience for listening. Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Taylor, for
Thank
having
you.
us. It has been a pleasure. I appreciate you for constantly supporting not just International Icon Inc., but the AIM agency, as well as the Iconic Speakers Network. Many people know, many people don't. You're one of our beginning partners, someone that's been with us from the beginning. So we truly appreciate you, and we're glad to be on your show and platform. So thank you so very much for having us.
This has been another episode of the Building Her Dream podcast. If you've enjoyed it, why don't you go ahead and subscribe, leave us a review, and stay up to date with what we're doing by visiting www.buildingherdream.com.